Well, guys, typically I kick off the sportscast in a jolly mood as I get ready to recap an exciting day in sports. But as many of you witnessed tonight, this is not a normal sports day. Now, what transpired during Monday Night Football a couple hours ago is something that we've never seen, actually unprecedented in the NFL. And honestly, I'm struggling with the right words to describe the event that happened. But what we do know is that there's a 24-year-old man currently fighting for his life after collapsing during the game tonight. And while I will not show you guys the play in which that happened, I will show you what the scene looked like moments after he collapsed. So just to catch you up to speed, in the first quarter of the game, Bills safety Damar Hamlin, he made a tackle on T. Higgins. He appeared to be okay, but shortly after he collapsed on the field. And as you can see, immediately teams from both sides, the Bengals and the Bills, were on the field. They were praying. We do understand that medical personnel were applying CPR to him on the field. We were told that when he left the field in the ambulance, they were providing oxygen for him. The game was suspended, I would say, probably for about an hour and a half after that, with both teams trying to figure out what the next course of action would be. As you see there, Bills players praying for them as you see the ambulance with Hamlin inside going off in the background. Now, both coaches did get together to discuss, and you see that right here, discussing exactly what they were going to do about this game. But obviously, after witnessing something that tragic, they felt it was in the best interest of the players to suspend the game for the time being. Now, both teams did go back to their locker rooms. They were in there for an extended period of time. They are still in there at last check. And what we do know is that Hamlin was transported to a nearby hospital. At this time, he is listed in critical condition, but obviously the hearts and prayers of everyone throughout the NFL world and just the sports world in general are, lifting Hamlin up in prayer. And as far as when this game will be postponed to, that is probably on the least of everybody's minds right now, as obviously Hamlin's health is the most important thing. Now, just minutes ago, I spoke with Folsom head football coach Paul Doherty on the situation. Here's part of our interview right here. Take a listen. In all your years of being a coach and watching professional football, have you ever seen or witnessed something like this?
No, I don't think anyone has, which is kind of speaks to the magnitude of it and kind of the overall reaction. I just started getting on social media and trying to read some articles and see some reactions, and something on this level, this magnitude. I mean, you hate to see it, and you certainly never want to see it, in person or with any of your kids or teams or players. But you just got to feel for the family. You got to feel for the team. You got to feel for the organization. I mean, I can't imagine the trauma that they're going through right now. Just you got a young man's life at stake there in the hospital in critical condition. Sounds like hopefully still in critical condition and hopefully on the mend.
You mentioned trauma. As a coach, you have seen many players, your players, who have gone down with injuries, some severe, obviously not as severe as what we saw tonight with Hamlin, but you have seen your fair share of injuries. As a coach, when you're in that position where you witness that, what do you say to your team to rally them back up or to just kind of get them to gain their composure or poise?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a tough task, and unfortunately, we've had that a couple of times. At the end of the spring season, we had a running back, Julian Perkins, kind of a broken ankle, broken leg situation on the sideline, and as tragic as those things are, nothing on the magnitude of what we saw tonight. But you hate to see a kid go through that. You hate to, and with his teammates there and seeing it, like they're definitely in a place of, they're pretty vulnerable. They're young kids, young adults, and they certainly have a relationship with their teammate. And, that's one of the blessings of sports and football specifically being such a team sport. I mean, all these kids are together. We had it happen again this year, unfortunately, in our first game against Monterey Trail with, a player, Walker Lyons, and a kid of his stature on campus, on the team, and in the public's eye. Not that that matters any which way, but it certainly the magnitude of an injury like that. He went down with a broken leg, like 3-4 snaps into his senior year. Now the emotions are feeling bad for the kid and what he's going to miss out on, and the injury and the road and the personal hardship, and his role in the team, his relationship with his teammates. And what we preach to our guys is, injury is a part of the game. And
thanks again to Coach Doherty for the interview. Now, we'll have much more with that interview and more from this game coming up later in this show, and also tonight at 11 o'clock right here on ABC 10.